Huge news in the hobby as PSA has reportedly acquired SGC. Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. So I haven't put out a video since Monday. I didn't do one Tuesday, Wednesday. Pretty normal, but then I was stuck. Like, what do I do for a video on Thursday? I really wanted to put one out today. Didn't have a good topic that was kind of a quick hit because I don't have a whole lot of time today. And then I woke up at 4:30 this morning. First thing I do, check my phone. I have a text message saying that PSA had acquired SGC. This is a tweet from Darren Rovell, who has, maybe I've missed it all these years, but he just seems in the last year or so to be really in tune with the collectibles market. And I know he's a big time ticket collector, but now he seems to be breaking a lot of news in the collectibles market on his Twitter and doing a really good job of it, assuming that this is real, which it seems that it is. It's pretty massive news in many ways, and reactions are mixed. And I can see why. You can kind of see that there might be some good that comes with this, but in my opinion, not much good can come of this. And Darren reports that PSA, and actually this comes straight from GemRate, PSA owned in 2023 78% of the market. They did 78% of the grading of all cards. SGC 7%, CGC 10%, Beckett 4%, right? 4, something like that. I didn't write it down here. Which, by the way, man, what happened to Beckett the last few years? That's amazing that they're that low down there. But if you dig into GemRate's numbers a little bit further, you see that where SGC is 9% of PSA overall, they're about double that in sports cards. So they're gaining ground on SGC. And this is actually going to be a little bit funny because on Thursday, today, Mike and I are releasing a hobby think tank on Bench Clear Media where we talk about how SGC is gaining ground on PSA. It's going to be a little out of date, unfortunately. Darren also reports that the brands will remain separate. And Danny, over at Hobby News Daily, is a little skeptical of that, understandably. He says, why would they buy them? Why would they buy this tiny little company if their brands are going to stay separate? And I think it kind of makes sense for them to stay separate. You have particularly vintage collectors love SGC and love the slabs. Now, I wonder if these vintage collectors are still going to love SGC if they become PSA, or if that just be collectors, the PSA's parent company, flushing their money down the toilet if they just turn SGC into PSA. Danny also speculates that maybe because they're having a hard time PSA's having a hard time staffing their New Jersey office with graders. They're buying graders, buying the company to staff up, potentially. I think SGC is fully in Florida. All of their graders are in Florida, so I don't think that makes a lot of sense, but I might be mistaken. I mean, they could obviously offer to move them. I really don't think they would do that for basically minimum wage workers. So I don't know. There's a lot of speculation here. Nobody really knows what's going on. I'm not pretending that I know what's going on with this. There are a lot of questions. Will Peter Steinberg stay? When I interviewed Peter a year ago, he seemed to be in it for the long haul. He said all the right things, right? But even in our private conversation, which I never talked about, we spoke for about 45 minutes after. He had a lot of things to say that make me think this may not have been his choice, and he may not be sticking around for very long. That's all I'll say. And everybody loves Peter Steinberg. He's awesome. He's such a great ambassador for the hobby. I would be surprised if he sticks around with PSA. I think that you'll find Peter pop up with another kind of startup-y kind of company in the hobby in the short term. Maybe he'll go to CGC. Will PSA keep the Tux? Like I said before, I think they definitely will because there are so many collectors who love the Tux, pre-war and vintage collectors. It's it has a much bigger portion of the market in the sports card industry than they do, because SGC just barely does any TCG grading at all. Will PSA add SGC cards to their registry? Will there be a separate, like another line? Right now they have the PSA grade and then they have the qualifier grade. Will they have, and my cat's over here using the litter box in the laundry room next to me. Will they never now have a line for SGC, or will it be another tab? Like right now they have PSA DNA tab. Will they now have an SGC tab for this? I'm curious, by the way, before I continue, what are your comments? What are your thoughts? Comment down below. Is this good for the hobby, for us, for collectors, or is it bad? I'm in the firmly bad camp. When you take a company that is as massive as PSA and they buy up basically their only competition in sports cards, CGC isn't doing much and Beckett is barely doing anything in sports cards, where does the innovation go? Not that SGC is really innovating at this point, but they are so much better in customer service and turnaround time. And I hear like Chris on my Twitter says that their customer service has been poor recently and their turnaround time has been poor as well. And that could be because of the acquisition. It's tough to say, obviously. My cat, man. So where will PSA embrace SGC's consistent grading practices? Probably not. Why would they? What would drive them to? Will they embrace SGC's superior customer service? Probably not. Why would they? There's nobody driving them, nobody pushing them to be better now. Is it going to be CGC? As I'm sitting here, John Keating just texted, I guess CGC just became the Apple of the grading world. I have to think about what that means exactly. But can you choose your slab? Will you be able to, when you're submitting a card, can you say, I want it to be in an SGC slab, or I want it to be in a PSA slab? Will they break out so everything vintage is in an SGC slab, everything modern is in a PSA? Something like that. Probably not that direct. They'll probably give you a choice, I'm guessing. I don't know. Will they improve those SGC slabs? I've been seeing a lot of tweets recently about how easy it is to crack SGC slabs. Man, there are a lot of questions unanswered. Will SGC authenticate autographs? Or will PSA authenticate autographs in SGC slabs? Of course, PSA DNA does in theirs, and now they have red slabs and blue slabs for this. Will you also see Tux autograph authentication for those of us who want our vintage cards slabbed and authenticated with autographs in PSA slabs? I mean, in SGC slabs. I don't know. There's just so many questions. It also makes me wonder if something's happening with Beckett. Would Beckett, are they a target for acquisition by another company? Could Fanatics be jumping into the industry? It is a wild time right now. There's so much happening. I'm going to try to get Peter Steinberg on for an interview. I guarantee you he'll say no. But I'm going to reach out to him. I'm hoping I'll get him on. I've actually been thinking the last few weeks, I should get Peter Steinberg back on. It's been a year. It's time. So, he alluded to a lot of things that were going to happen last year when I had him on. We talked about a registry. We talked about an app. We talked about so many different things. And he said, oh yeah, we're going to do all these things. And now they just can't. So super early emergency video here about PSA buying SGC. I'm curious for your thoughts. I think throughout the day today, more details will probably come out. Darren Rovell will probably release more details. I'll be following this story on Hobby News Daily because they are going to be providing regular updates on this. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Talk to you soon.